The year is 1989 in the tranquil town of Twin Peaks. A local logger, Pete Martell, is on his way to his usual fishing spot when he suddenly discovers a body wrapped in plastic washed ashore. Turns out to be that of a high schooler, the homecoming queen Laura Palmer. This discovery sets an entire murder mystery into motion, exposing prostitution rings, drug trafficking, and estate conflicts, all while the killer is still running loose. This is the story of one of the most ontological pieces of media ever put on television and how David Lynch made it work. Twin Peaks is often described as a crime drama, though it hardly behaves like one, in a familiar sense at least. The viewer is never given the full information needed to comprehend what's happening. David Lynch, in his usual fashion, messes with temporality, space, and the expectations of the audience, disrupting the notion of comfort that exists in conventional television. And at the center of that disruption is Laura Palmer. Laura's omnipresence, or rather omni-absence, can be seen and felt through the entire series. Her iconic homecoming portrait, the haunting music theme by Angelo Badalamenti, and finally, the figure in the red room who resembles Laura, said to be the cousin of the man from another place. Though her physical body is found in the very opening scene, her image and spirit continue to seep into every corner of the narrative. Her presence perfectly mirrors the philosophical concept of ontology, coined by Jacques Derrida. Ontology describes a state where the past is neither fully gone nor present, but instead exists as a ghostly trace, disrupting linear time. Laura Palmer exists exactly in that space. In such a way, the representation of hers appears to Cooper in dreams, whispering in his ear in the red room. She gives him clues he cannot remember and tells him that she'll see him again in 25 years. And eventually, she does. The return, which happens 25 years after the original series end, Laura's face appears in the opening credits, superimposed over the town itself. By this point, she has become part of the environment, and the implication is clear. Those wounds never healed. That makes Laura Palmer the emotional and temporal anchor of the entire series. No matter how far the story stretches, across timelines, realities, and identities, it always bends back towards her. And that bending of time becomes most explicit in the Red Room itself is portrayed as a set of infinite rooms and hallways, separated only by thick red velvet curtains, a signature Lynchian visual motif. These curtains mark the division between different sections. It's safe to say that no earthly laws of physics apply to this dimension, as its arrangement could change from moment to moment, making navigation or escape extremely difficult. The same could be said about the passage of time. As for the inhabitants of the lodge, there are quite a few. The Arm, also known as the man from another place, Mike, Bob, Laura and Leland Palmer, the Giant, and finally Special Agent Dale Cooper, the active centerpiece of the story who ends up carrying the realm for 25 years. All these characters, in one way or another, function as specters, haunting the world of Twin Peaks. The most literal of them, Bob, possesses the respected attorney Leland Palmer to fulfill his carnal desires, allowing the lodge to bleed out directly into the real world. Lynch famously refused to explain the deeper mechanics of the Black Lodge, and the show never offers clear guidelines on how it operates. In the original series finale, we last saw Audrey Horne inside of a bank that exploded, leaving her fate unknown. The return, we see her once again, involved in a plot the viewers have zero context about. In similar fashion, other characters make reference to a certain Billy who never appears and whose role is never explained. The Audrey and Charlie sequences feel disjointed, taking the clarity away from a seemingly simple scene. It has little to do with the main plot, yet, with Lynch giving Audrey exposure, the audience believes she must be relevant in some way. At the end of the scene, Audrey is shown trapped in an empty white space, as if waking up from a dream, and is never seen or referenced in the rest of the season. One could assume Horne is also one of the specters of the plot, just as the Black Lodge inhabitants, but this is not quite the case. Audrey is haunting not the plot itself, yet rather the viewer, reminding them of her impact on the original series. This way, we have no way of knowing what events depicted are real, because the narrative structure of the show is unreliable. The ending of The Return isn't something you may call a grand finale. After the good Cooper attempted to save Laura Palmer and change the timeline, he shifts himself into the different one, searching for a woman named Carrie Page. When the agent finally gets to see her, the woman indeed bears a striking resemblance to Laura. Cooper brings her to the Palmer's house to try and reawaken her memories. Entering Twin Peaks, Cooper asks Carrie if anything looked familiar to her, but it didn't. When the pair arrives to the house, to the agent's surprise, they are met not by Laura's mother Sarah, but Alice Tremont, who had never even heard of the Palmers. Back on the street, perplexed, Cooper asks aloud, "What year is this?" while Paige is getting visibly distressed. The scene ends with echoes of Sarah's voice calling Laura's name and Carrie screaming in terror into the abyss of the unknown year. Somehow, the past had penetrated the alternative present, and we would never know for sure what happened next, as Lynch himself refrained from giving any comments on the finale. What we can do, though, is theorize. Had it been your average TV series, the finale would have probably shown the viewer the peaceful life of Laura Palmer in another world, never affected by Bob. And Twin Peaks rejects that comfort and instead presents a duality. No matter the circumstance, there will be always someone who suffers and someone who serves justice. The timelines and the roles may change, but the structure persists. While the ending definitely did not cater to the fans, it makes perfect sense within the framework of hauntology. Nobody can escape the ghosts of the past. Both runs of Twin Peaks were revolutionary in how they challenged television conventions. In the 1990s, the world was shook with the off-kilter reimagining of a familiar murder mystery plot. In the 2010s, Lynch went even further, delivering one of the clearest and at the same time most incomprehensible works in his career. A piece that resists definitive meaning and invites endless interpretation. Who knows, maybe in another 10 years we'll see another mystery drama, but haunted by none other but the specter of David Lynch himself.